is going on, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition. I guess this is an NHL live before lock. I am your host, Josh Harris. We have a 12-game slate here, locking at 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll probably take you up until right around 4 o'clock. This was probably the best outcome for DraftKings in terms of how they cut the slate up, which is, I don't want to say like a mega surprise, but it is slightly surprising that they got this one right. Hope all the American viewers had a lovely Thanksgiving. My in-laws still don't know how to cook. They could have asked me for help. Didn't want it. They said too many cooks in the kitchen ruin the food. And I said, you know what ruins the food?
Bad cooks?
You.
You're just really ingratiating yourself with them, aren't you?
Yeah. I don't know. I can't stand like sitting and watching people not cook stuff properly, but that's a me problem. That's not a you problem. Joining me to break it all down here today, Slim Cliffy. How was your Thursday?
Yeah, I was going to say, I nothing going on up here. The joke is, it's like American Thanksgiving falls on the same day as Canadian Halloween. I don't know where that came from, but anyways, yeah, decent Thursday. Got a bunch of holiday stuff done. Went and got the Christmas tree. Put up a Christmas tree for the office here. Got a haircut. Watched a couple of the episodes of the new Stranger Things series. Honestly, just really did not do a whole lot other than start getting ready for Christmas. But we do have 12 games on the board here tonight. We decided to do a live before lock just because, some teams practiced yesterday, not every team. And obviously, even when they do practice, you don't always get a ton of information. So, just for example, Buffalo starts at 4 o'clock Eastern. They're one of the first games on the slate that we'll talk about, so I won't go too in depth here. But like Zach Benson was moved up to the top line either halfway through the game or for the third period or something like that. And, Zach Benson on the top line kind of changes the dynamic of that top line a little bit. So there's just things all across the board there that, we'll have to talk about, whether it's Buffalo, whether it's possibly Vancouver, certainly St. Louis. So we're going to have to we'll get through the games, and then as the warm-ups start hitting, we'll kind of update what we thought about those games depending on what we see in warm-ups there.
Yep. And before we get into it, I just dropped our affiliate link in the chat. And if you do want to go premium, which you don't have to, but we do have a very nice code for you. You can use promo code GRAVY. You get 50% off any weekly DFS package. Doesn't even have to be NHL if you're on the fence about, NFL or something. Use promo code GRAVY. Use the link in the chat. So that will help us out. We help you out. You help us out. But let's get into this slate. We'll start it off with a Super Bowl for Frostback since he is on time for the first time since the Great War of 1812. The Los Angeles Kings with a 3.2 total heading into Anaheim. That's not really a far trip, but knowing the traffic in California, that took them 4.5 hours to get 30 minutes. The Anaheim Ducks have a 2.8 total. LA going Kempe, Fiala, Byfield, Kopitar, Moore, Kuzmenko, Laferriere, Deneau, Armia. Ducks are going Gauthier, Carlson, Seneca, Terry, Kreider, McTavish. So lots of ownership here on that Kings, Kempe, Fiala, Byfield line at 17,900, 15.4%. Top two, 16% projected. They really haven't been great at 5-on-5, and they're shooting a really low percentage. This is a good matchup. Neither of these new iterations of these lines are great defensively, not that they were beforehand, but these are especially bad in a small sample. The problem is it's almost 18K, right? And there's just an unbelievable amount of lines in that range. You have, Dallas that we'll talk about. We have the Leafs who have burned everybody. We have Vancouver. There's just a whole bunch. We have the Sharks for a little bit more. There's Carolina. You know what I mean? So, like, they do have the second highest top 2 stack on the night, but they have not been great. They're not fully correlated. The Kings' power play as it isn't great. So I don't know if I want to spend 16% ownership on a 12-game slate for a team on the road, almost 18K, that has not been great. So, I mean, you're welcome to do it. And I think in the long run, they'll be fine. And it is a good matchup. I just am a bit weary of the ownership and price. I think, again, like, if you want to go to Kuzmenko and Kopitar as a 2-man, since it's way cheaper for power play, I think that's fine as a filler in MME, but I don't think I'm going to be super happy or running out to go play the Kings here. It's kind of similar on the Ducks side just because, the correlation isn't great. 5-on-5, this is a tough matchup. So I think, what I would do is maybe play like old Ducks 1, like Carlson, Kreider, Terry. I did see that Gauthier did get some top power play time the other night. He split with Seneca. So I think you could go like Carlson, Gauthier, Kreider, something like that. I'd be more likely to get to the Ducks than the Kings just because the ownership's way lower. It's a bit cheaper. It's not the best matchup. So I think really, despite the Kings having a 3.2 road total, which is the second highest on the board, I'm leaning towards this game being MME.
So I was looking at Los Angeles' last 15 games. They have one player in their last 15 games with at least 10 points. It's Corey Perry. Fiala, 9 points. Kempe, 9 points. Byfield, 9 points. Like, they're not really doing a whole lot. You mentioned how this current top line iteration has not been that good. 57 shot attempts per 60, 2.4 expected goals per 60 in about 65 minutes together. Like, they just haven't done anything offensively. Now, I do wonder, because this is a fairly recent line combination, and it also coincides with Drew Doughty's injury. And let's be honest here, with Doughty out, there's one guy on that blue line who can reliably move the puck, and it's Brant Clark. When he's off the ice, it's like, who's moving the puck to the forwards? And I think that's why you're kind of seeing Los Angeles play a lot more defensively of late. The Kings, over those same 15 games, third fewest goals against per 60 in the league. They've been really good defensively, just haven't done anything offensively. Now, it's a really good matchup against Anaheim. It's the day after Thanksgiving, maybe something crazy can happen, but like, you want me to play a super chalky line that isn't that cheap. Like you said, 17,900. There are a bunch of lines, Buffalo, Carolina, Toronto, Dallas, all in that price range from really good offensive teams. You want me to play that at super chalk? Like, I don't know. If they break out against the Ducks, it's kind of like they break out against the Ducks. The one thing that does concern me is, as far as we know, Lucas Dostal is still day-to-day. If he's not in, then a good matchup gets even better. And they don't even need to play well to put up 3 or 4 goals. But if they were cheaper or if they had less ownership, I would be considering them. But neither of those things are true. So basically, I'm out on the Kings. I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of out on the Ducks here too. For basically the first time this season, like, honestly, like I said, the Kings have been really, really good defensively. Third fewest goals against per 60 over their last 15 games. Fourth fewest expected goals against per 60. Only Ottawa, St. Louis, and Colorado are lower. And the big thing is, like, the Kings have stopped taking penalties. The last 5 weeks, 2.7 times shorthanded per game. 20th in the league, like better than league average. This is a team that was taking a lot of penalties earlier in the season. They've just gotten better and better at staying disciplined. I don't know, like a really good defensive team at 5-on-5 that's not taking penalties. If anything, I would go to Cutter and Carlson and Seneca, just because Carlson is still getting over 21 minutes a game. Him and Cutter Gauthier have good offensive numbers together so far this season, but this is a pretty brutal matchup. This was a 7 or 8 game slate. I think that's when they enter the conversation for me in single entry on a slate where there's 24 teams. I think I'm just kind of out on this game in general.
Yeah. Also, like, it's a 4 p.m. lock, but they're in California. It's an afternoon game. And hockey players are creatures of habit with their nap times. So, like, not that you can really, like, quantify that, but still. Cliffy definitely wearing the Christmas sweater. My man, after Thanksgiving, any live before locks and Saturday shows, Cliffy's always wearing a Christmas sweater.
Yeah, it's what I buy a new one every year, and I've got like 9 or 10 of them in the closet. I wear them like once a year. Whatever.
New Jersey Devils with a 3 total heading into Buffalo. The Sabres have a 3.1 total. So as Cliffy alluded to, Zach Benson did move up to the top line in the middle of that game. We have that noted in the top stacks. Buffalo, we have Thompson, Tuck, Benson, Zucker, Quinn, McLeod, Doan, Kozak, Ostland. Devils, Barat, Hischer, Meyer, Mercer, Grietzuk, Palat. So that's an interesting change, moving Doan off, moving Benson up. Benson and Thompson had really good numbers together in the preseason to start the season. Then Benson got hurt, and they went away. Like, everyone got hurt, and they went away from it. That, whether it's Doan, whether it's Benson, doesn't really change a bunch for me. Benson is $400 cheaper. That makes the line 19.2 instead of 19.6. I will say I think Benson at 5-on-5 complements Thompson better than Doan. Doan is more important on the power play than at 5-on-5 with Thompson, so I think it's a better line. Now, they'll be seeing a fair bit of that Nico Hischier line. And listen, like, they've been good, but it's not like a Nico Hischier, like, oh, yeah, our blue line's locking it down like it Siegenthaler and Kovacevic from 2 seasons ago. They were nasty. Siegenthaler is having a pretty rough season. Dougie hasn't looked completely right since he got back. Like, this isn't the defensive team that it was. They still do have a good penalty kill, but I'm more likely to play Buffalo 1 for the 5-on-5 matchup if Benson's there rather than Doan at 19.2. They're coming in at 2% projected. I think it's a sneaky good matchup here, so I do like Buffalo 1. Buffalo 2 is interesting from the standpoint that, like, in a small sample, they've been excellent. And once Nico Hischier's off the ice, the Devils are a mess. And I'm not saying to prioritize them in single entry by any means, but, if you're going to do something with, you're going to power play stack the Jets or power play stack Vegas or something like that, I think taking 2 guys like a Quinn McLeod or a Quinn Zucker, 2-man from that line would be a nice filler, considering once Hischier's off the ice, the Devils really struggle. So I do prefer Buffalo 1, but I think Buffalo 2 is in play just because they've been very good and they're very cheap. On the Devil side, it would be top line or bust. This is a good matchup for them as well. They have a 3 total, and they're already a top-heavy team, so they're expecting some fireworks in this game. They are 19,900, one of the most expensive lines on the board. I think they're the most expensive besides Winnipeg 1. That's not super price prohibitive considering that they get heavy minutes. They're fully correlated. This is a good 5-on-5 matchup, good power play matchup. I do think it's my favorite line in this game just because they're only $700 more than Buffalo 1, but I don't think you should cross off Buffalo 1 just because I think of the guys healthy on the Buffalo roster to play with Tage Thompson, I think Zach Benson is the best one to be on his wing.
Yeah, I'll just comparing the 2 top lines because they're both between 19 and 20K here tonight. Like, New Jersey has a 12% top 2 stack. Buffalo is at 5.9%. Obviously, Buffalo is going to come in with lower ownership. The New Jersey top line is perfectly correlated on the power play. Buffalo penalty kill, it's been good. Again, a lot of it has been the goaltending with very high save percentages, and not necessarily that they're limiting shots or quality or anything like that. I lean New Jersey's top line here. And the reason is this. It's a concentration of scoring, right? It's like if New Jersey gets 5 goals here, like just hypothetically, if they get 5 goals here tonight, what are the chances that the top line doesn't have at least 1, if not 2 or 3 of them, right? As opposed to Buffalo. Like I could see, Buffalo putting up 5 goals. Josh Doan has 2 goals and an assist down on the third line, or Jack Quinn has a 1 goal, 3 assist game or something like that. Like that can happen. I don't really see that coming from New Jersey. And to back that up, New Jersey's played 6 games since Jack Hughes got wrecked in a restaurant. In those 6 games, the top line for the Devils has 60 shots, 10 shots per game. Every other forward that has appeared for New Jersey in those games have 67 shots combined. The top line is generating nearly half the shots of the entire forward group. They're playing 19 to 21 minutes. They're perfectly correlated on the power play, which the Buffalo top line doesn't have. So for me, I prefer New Jersey won by a fairly comfortable margin here. What I will say on the Buffalo side is I do kind of like that second line, that Zucker, Quinn, McLeod line. Like McLeod's actually having a decent offensive season. If you look at some of his play driving metrics, that lines up to nearly 40 minutes together, 73 shot attempts per 60. That's quite a bit of volume. Quinn and Zucker, both on the top power play unit. Those guys are playing 16 to 18 minutes, which isn't far off from what the top line is getting. And at 11,200, they're priced as a filler, so you can easily fit them in with any. Like there are a bunch of lines like between like 19 and 21K here tonight. You can easily fit them in with one of those lines. And the Buffalo power play has been pretty good as currently constructed. 12.7 expected goals, 11.8 actual goals per 60 minutes for that Buffalo top power play unit. So you get 2 out of 3 guys on that power play. You get comparable minutes to the top line. 11,200. I think they're a very nice filler. I like Buffalo 2 here, but New Jersey 1 is my favorite line in this game.
Agreed. Calgary Flames, the 2.4 total heading into Florida. The Panthers have a 3.1. Florida going Marchand, Lundell, Mackie Samoskevich, Reinhart, Rodriguez, Bachwist, Verhaeghe, Bennett, Greer. Calgary going Kadri, Farabee, Sharangovich, Coronado, Huberdeau, Frost, Backlund, Coleman, Zari. So this is a 5.5 total. Calgary has a 2.4 total. I will say, I'll start on the Calgary side. I'll be quick. In MME, if you get to some Coronado, Huberdeau, Frost, I think that's fine just from the standpoint that they're fully correlated. Florida takes a bunch of penalties. You want to do the same thing with like a Kadri one-off. I think that's fine as well. Other than that, like I'm really not super interested in Calgary, and I'm not very interested in Florida either. Like that Samoskevich, Lundell, Marchand line has been good offensively. They're not very good defensively, though. So, like, Calgary is one of these teams that are good at 5-on-5. The one line I think you can take advantage of is that Kadri, Farabee, Sharangovich line. They've been pretty bad. And for that reason, I don't mind Bennett, Verhaeghe, Greer as a filler at 11-3. Verhaeghe's on the top power play unit. They've been good in a small sample. Bennett is cheap enough for the amount he shoots the puck. So for me, like I'm fine with Marchand, Lundell, Samoskevich, but for me, I prefer Verhaeghe, Bennett, Greer. You could just do Bennett, Verhaeghe if you want. That's the line I'm interested in on the Flame side. If you're playing 20 to 150, if you get some of that fully correlated top line, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any real interest in the Flames. I guess there's no ownership on them. So if you are going to play the Calgary Flames, like tonight seems like a decent night to do it just because there's no ownership. But like Calgary Flames on the road in a single entry on a 12-game slate, like that's a pretty easy pass for me. Florida, meanwhile, like they do have 3 playable lines. in a nutshell, I would probably say Marchand, Lundell, Samoskevich would be my favorite line for the only reason that I think you want to take advantage of the Calgary penalty kill. Like Calgary, they don't take a ton of penalties, but they're around league average over the last 5 weeks. Florida does draw a ton of power plays. Since Florida finally got away from that 3-4-2 defenseman top power play, since it was just been Seth Jones, the top power play unit for Florida, 10.4 expected goals per 60, 13.1 actual goals per 60. Like those are really high-end power play numbers. And, you know, the Calgary Flames definitely haven't had a great penalty kill for most of the year. Dustin Wolf has kind of saved them lately on the PK. Like he's been really, really good. We always say you can't rely on your goaltender to put up like a 920 save percentage on the penalty kill. It just doesn't happen. That's going to come crashing down eventually, especially with the quality that the Flames gives up. So I think for me in this game, it's Marchand, Lundell, Samoskevich, but I also do like that Verhaeghe, Bennett, Greer line as a filler. I don't know if anybody saw that pass from AJ Greer.
It was disgusting
in that 8-goal game when he did like that backhand alley-oop into the offensive zone. I was like, I swear to God, that looked like the Erik Karlsson pass in the playoffs like 10 years ago, only on the backhand and from AJ Greer. I was like, what just happened? Anyways, like they've been relatively low event, 51 shot attempts, 444 against per 60 in their minutes together. I mean, Evan Rodriguez is at 2.5 shots per game over his last 10, so he's shooting the puck. Oh, sorry, that's the second line. I was reading the wrong line. But Verhaeghe, Bennett, and Greer, like Bennett has been shooting. Verhaeghe is on the top power play. Greer does seem to have fit in with them, but they're 11,300. I'd rather just go play Buffalo too at 11,200. Like, so for me, I think my only interest in this game is Florida 1.
Don't tell Jake you'd rather play Buffalo than his boy, the Carter V. He's probably not listening, though. If you are, sorry. Philadelphia Flyers with a 2.6 total heading into Long Island. That's just a fucking festival of fuckery. The Islanders have a 3 total. Islanders going Horvat, Palmieri, Heineman, Barzal, Lee, Drouin. Flyers going Konechny, Cates, Forrester, Zegras, Tippett, Dvorak, Couturier, Michkov, Brink. This game sucks. I don't really want to play the Horvat, Palmieri, Heineman line because I feel like they're going to see a fair bit of Cates, Forrester, Konechny, and they are just very low event. So I'm probably out on them. I think my preferred line on the Islanders would be that Barzal, Lee, Drouin line. The problem I have with them is it's not a great power play matchup. It's an all right 5-on-5 matchup. They're creating fine, but it's a lot of like low danger. So do I really want to get close to double digits on an Islanders second line? And their shooting percentage is really low too. They have been good. Like, I know they burned some people the last game, like Barzal scored on the first shot of the game and they did nothing after that. I think it would be my preferred line in this game. I just don't think I'm going to get there in single entry. Their ownership is twice their top 2. You do get 2-3 guys on the top power play unit, but like Cliffy, had a montage on John Drouin the other show, and it's, like he's fine. He's just not a great DFS player. So I guess like a Barzal one-off is fine, a Palmieri one-off, something like that. But really, I don't have a ton of interest in the Isles. Same thing on the flip side. Like, this is a pretty good matchup. It's just like I don't like these iterations of these lines. Like Cates, Konechny, Forrester, they're not creating anything. They're scoring because their shooting percentage is really high. I guess like Tippett, Zegras, Dvorak from an offensive standpoint has been fine. Their defensive numbers have slipped though. Like it would probably be that Zegras, Tippett, Dvorak line, but I'm not running out to play them at 12-7. You want to play Couturier, Michkov, and Brink, like they haven't been great either. So really, this game doesn't interest me a ton in single entry. If anything, it would be the Islanders second line or the Dvorak line.
Yeah, initially I didn't have a ton of interest in this game, and then I saw that Sam Erson's starting. Kind of changed my tune a little bit. Like, I hate kind of, just completely changing my opinion on a game just because of one goalie. But listen, Sam Erson has an 850 save percentage this season. Meanwhile, Dan Vladar has been, really good. Vladar's sitting at a 913 save percentage. It's pretty much like that Logan Thompson, Charlie Lindgren dilemma with Washington. So, I mean, I'll tell you, I'm definitely not playing Chalk Islanders, Barzal, Lee, and Drouin. That's like, I agree with you 100% on that. Like, I'm not playing an Islanders on a 12-game slate. I am not playing an Islanders line coming in at 2x their top two stack. That's just, it's an easy no for me, dog. So it's by elimination, it's Horvat, Palmieri, and Heineman. 15,600, 2.1% top two stack. They have been good together. Their defensive numbers have been slipping, but their offensive numbers have still been good. Like 64 shot attempts, 3.1 expected goals per 60. 2 out of the 3 guys on the top power play unit. Not, like you said, not a great power play matchup in itself, but it is when Sam Erson is in net. So I don't mind Horvat, Palmieri, and Heineman here. That's my only real interest on the Islander side. But there are a lot of lines in that price range, right? Like we just went over Florida with Lundell, Samoskevich, and Marchand. Utah, we got Carolina, we got a couple of Anaheim lines that we already talked about. If you want to play the Ducks, like there are a lot of lines in that price range. So it's the Horvat line, but I'm pretty confident in saying I'm not going to play them. On the Philly side, like I think it's Konechny, Cates, and Forster, and the reason is that they're perfectly correlated on the power play, and that's surprisingly that's actually been a good power play unit for the Flyers. 10.6 expected goals, 9.7 actual goals per 60. The Islanders' penalty kill is pretty bad. Like some other teams, they've been riding a very hot save percentage. I was looking over the last 5 weeks, over the last 17 games, the New York Islanders expected goals against in the NHL is third worst on the penalty kill, but they have a 933 save percentage. So the goaltending has really been doing work for the Islanders. Again, they can't keep that up. It's just one of those things that's just far too high. It's very unsustainable. So even though Konechny, Cates, and Forster haven't been great at 5-on-5, you know who else hasn't been great at 5-on-5? The Islanders defensively. So like at 11,400 for what is the top line getting 16 to 19 minutes, at the high end, they're getting 19 minutes. At the low end, they're getting 16. That's perfectly correlated on a good power play in a decent power play matchup. Konechny, Cates, and Forster is another one of those filler lines along with Buffalo too that I like here. I think that's my real interest in this game.
Yeah. Let's get this one out of the way, shall we? Vancouver Canucks with a 3.3 total. Heading into San Jose, the Sharks have a 3.2 total. San Jose going Celebrini, Eklund, Smith, Toffoli, Kurashev, Wenberg. Vancouver going Pettersson, Kane, DeBrusk, Garland, Besser, David fucking Kampf. Oh, that makes me so mad because this is such a good matchup. Let's just let's talk about the Sharks here. The good. Dmitry Orlov back on top power play. The good. San Jose 1 fully correlated. The good. They're facing Nikita Tolopilo in net. The bad. They're 19.2% projected on a 12-game slate. The Sharks. Now, Eklund, Celebrini, and Smith are fully correlated. They've played 30 minutes together at 5-on-5. 3.3 expected goals for 4 actual. Sounds nice in a nutshell, right? Like that's Celebrini. Whoa. Nice. Controlling 42% of the shot share, 6.1 expected goals against. they're getting absolutely run over. The problem is, it's like they're going to see David Kampf, I guess. Like, I guess they haven't been awful, but it's like I'm not playing almost 20% San Jose Sharks on a 12-game slate. I just can't do it. Like,
let me put this to you. Would you rather play high-owned Sharks or high-owned Kings?
I think at the end of the day, I'm taking the best player on the ice, and that would be Macklin Celebrini. Okay. Just because he can do it on his own. You know what I mean? But like the problem is there, like if he goes off, someone else is coming along for the ride. But like in single entry, I just have a hard time when one of 5 lineups has the San Jose Sharks in it, right? So I think you could do something with Celebrini, like do Celebrini Orlov or something like that. But you run the risk of like, it's that conundrum that I always have with Matthews, because people always ask, can I one-off Matthews? And if he's low owned, the answer is always yes. But if he's high owned in a situation like this, and he goes off, someone's coming for the ride. So you have to just either play the full line or you don't. So I'm leaning towards not, just because there's so many lines in that range that the likelihood of a line with less ownership comparatively has, like, say San Jose 1 hits their ceiling or whatever. Lines in that range, there's going to be at least, you hope, 1 or 2 that comparatively put up like 80 to 90% of the same points if they hit their ceiling for way less ownership. And then you can, you don't have to sweat the Sharks, right? So like, I think it's more of an MME play for me. You take a stand, you either go like 8-9% or you go like 23 plus or something like that. You don't really want to come in the field on a Sharks team. That's the only line I'd have interest in anyway. I think, if you want to get a little bit different, you can add in Wenberg or just straight up 5-man power play stack, just because Vancouver is a mess. That'd be the way I would do it, is just straight up 5-man power play stacking. On the Vancouver side, like that Patterson line has not been – they've been okay. The Sharks penalty kill has been really bad. They've been middle of the road at 5-on-5, which is like a vast improvement from last year or 2 years ago when Vancouver put up a 10 spot on them or whatever it was. I swear to God, if it was anyone but David Kampf, I'd be very interested in Vancouver too. Just because you get Besser and Garland on the top power play unit. It's a good power play matchup. I guess what you could do is leave off Kampf and add in Pettersson, and then you're getting, it's 17-3 for a power play stack. That's probably what I would do. They have a higher total than the Sharks and almost a tenth of the ownership. So I would do some sort of Vancouver power play. We'll obviously talk about defensemen at the end. I think Quinn Hughes is in a great spot. Doing like a Besser, Garland, Hughes or something, I think is a nice way to play Vancouver. I much prefer the Vancouver side just because of ownership. Just these lines are just atrocious.
I'll start on the San Jose side. I think what I would do with the Sharks is just straight up power play stack them. Top line, add in Wenberg, throw in Orlov on the blue line, and just kind of be on your way. Like if you do that, the entire Sharks top power play unit comes out to 24,500. So it's less than half of the salary cap for the entire Sharks top power play. And we've said it all season. The Sharks power play with Orlov has legitimately been excellent. 11.3 expected goals per 60, 12 actual goals per 60 on the power play with Dmitry Orlov running it. Those are Edmonton Oilers numbers. Like this has been a great power play as long as he's been on the blue line. And I don't know if I feel like there's at least one fan base that has realized this, but the Vancouver Canucks are giving up 1 power play goal against per game on the season. Okay. We're like 30% of the way through the year, and they're still averaging 1 power play goal against per game. Their PK has been absolutely terrible. It's a great power play matchup for the Sharks. Turn it into a power play stack. Like Wenberg's projected ownership is under 5%. I think justifiably so, but it really brings down the average, the total ownership exposure of a San Jose stack, and it's a great power play matchup for them. So I think that's how I would approach the Sharks to kind of dilute that ownership, because I'm like you, I have a real tough time playing 20% San Jose Sharks on a 12-game slate. I've been playing DFS for far too long.
I've seen that movie before.
Yes, like a few times. The Vancouver side, it feels like they're getting expensive. And, 17,400, like it's a fine price to go up against the Sharks here. But, it's not like the Sharks are like, I hate to say it, but like the Vancouver Canucks. Like the Sharks aren't great defensively. They're not a pit of all despair like the Vancouver Canucks are, right? The last 15 games, the Sharks are at 3.22 expected goals against per 60 in the league. They're actually closer to teams like Vegas and Carolina than they are to Vancouver. So like, I don't know, with the Elias Pettersson, like he's doing stuff, but he's not doing a lot. You know what I mean? Like, he's got 3 goals and 3 assists in his last 5 games, but no 3-point games, 1 shot bonus. He's getting a ton of ice time, so I guess it's fine. But like, without a ton of shot volume, like it's really hard to play him. I think for me, this is one of those games where I'm just kind of banking on Vancouver not going crazy. It's been a relatively decent bet so far this season. Like there are just so many lines. Like we'll get to Dallas, we'll get to Montreal, we'll get to Pittsburgh, we'll get to Toronto, we'll get to Vegas, we'll get to Chicago, we'll get to Washington. Like there's so many lines in that price range. I really don't feel the need to run out and play Vancouver Canucks here. So I'm out on Vancouver. For me, it's a San Jose power play stack in this game. And I just, it's like, what are you putting your faith in, the San Jose Sharks or the Vancouver Canucks? And at that point, it's like, I'm putting my faith in a bottle of gin. I think we've talked about this game too much as it is.
Yeah, I'll put my faith in Yaroslav Askarov. Ottawa Sens, 2.8 total. Heading into St. Louis, the Blues, 2.7. Brady, he's back. What a great matchup to be back for. Ottawa going Stützle, Batherson, Tkachuk. Oh, that sounds so much better than Stützle, Batherson, Nick Cousins. Pinto, Giroux, Amadio, Cousins, Perron, Zetterlund. Blues still mixing up the lines, going Thomas, Kyrou, Buchnevich, Holloway, Neighbors, Dvorsky, Snuggerud, Shen, Suter. I'll start on the Blues side. That top line, Thomas, Kyrou, Buchnevich, fully correlated on not the Justin Falk unit, which I think, listen, you're kind of splitting hairs if you say the St. Louis power play is good, but like I'd much rather have the Fowler unit with Neighbors on it than the Falk unit with, the other guys on it. So they are fully correlated 13-7, but they're coming in at 7% projected. It's not a good 5-on-5 matchup, but it is a good power play matchup. But again, like the Blues power play isn't great. Buchnevich has looked awful this season. Thomas is starting to play all right. At 7%, like if you want to get there in MME, that's fine. I just cannot do it in single entry. It would have to be a very good 5-on-5 matchup as well to like be like, yeah, I'll play 7% Blues and I'm banking on their power play. Like saying that out loud makes you realize how bad of a play it is. So like, I don't really like the Blues here. I guess like it would be that line, but I just don't love it. Tkachuk, Stützle, Batherson, on the other hand, 19,900, 5.9% top 2. I just feel like, how do you really, now that everyone's switching over just to this year's data, it's like kind of breaking the top 2 and the projections a little bit just because he hasn't played yet. But like, I don't think it truly matters who goes out against them. Brady, like, yes, Ottawa isn't a great 5-on-5 team, even with Brady Tkachuk in there. But they're fully correlated. The Blues penalty kill isn't great. Brady's just a pest. I do worry a little bit how much he's going to play, But at 19,900, that's really not that bad. We've seen that line push over 21K at times. He's 7,700 though. And I think that's why you're going to see the ownership on them low. I think it makes them a good GPP play. It's a good time to take a chance, get in on the ground floor before, like, if they have a good game, you know what I mean? Fully correlated. Blues goalies have been starting to get better. They still have been pretty bad. So it would be Ottawa 1 for me. I'm fine with going back to Pinto, Giroux, Amadio at 10-6 as a filler, but for me, it would be Ottawa 1. On the Blues side, it's the Thomas line, but that's definitely MME only.
I'm straight up not playing the Blues. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, saying it out loud, like saying banking on their power play is disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, Ottawa over the last 15 games, lowest expected goals against in the league. They're still top 10 by goals against, and they're doing that with a below average save percentage. Like, as long as the goaltending doesn't completely fall apart for the Sens, they're arguably the best defensive team in the league. This is a brutal matchup for the Blues. I'm out. On the Ottawa side, I'll just say this is just purely speculation on my part. The initial timeline, like, Brady Tkachuk it was a torn ligament in his thumb. That's what it was surgery on. And the initial timeline was 6 to 8 weeks for his return. 6 weeks would be this coming Monday, I think. So he's been under the 6-week threshold. If you go look for any interview for any player coming back from a hand injury, or like a serious hand injury or a serious wrist injury or whatever, they're not 100% right away. They're not even close. It takes them a long time to get back the strength that they had before. And a lot of times it leads to fairly low shooting percentages. I think Ilya Mikheyev from Chicago is a good example of that. Came back from a wrist surgery and shot like half his career rate in his first season before bouncing back. I bring that up because it's not as if Brady Tkachuk is a 20% shooter. Every year he's one of the worst shooters in the NHL. He just puts up a ton of volume. So if he comes back and he's not 100% and he shoots 6%, like, I don't know, man. Like, at 19,900, you're asking me to play a guy playing his first game in 5 weeks, almost 6, that may or may not be healthy, coming off a hand surgery, who's not a good shooter to begin with. I think that's a pass for me. Like, if people want to take the shot on the low ownership, Tkachuk playing in St. Louis, like, whatever narrative you want to use, go ahead. I'd rather go play New Jersey. So, like, I'm out on the Ottawa top line. For me, it's Pinto, Giroux, Amadio. They're just a nice filler line. You get the depth defense pairs from the St. Louis Blues. Lord knows they've not been very good. The Pinto line in their last 10 games, 64 shot attempts for, 38 against per 60. They are absolutely rolling over the opposition. I like the Pinto line as a filler line. It's basically the only line I liked in this game.
Montreal Canadiens, 2.6 total. Heading into Vegas, the Golden Knights have a 3.5. Vegas going Eichel, Bowman, Barbashev, Marner, Stone, Rangers legend Brett Howden, Hurdle, Dorofeyev, Saad. Montreal going Caulfield, Suzuki, Bolduc, Slavkovsky, Demidov, Kapanen. I don't particularly love Montreal here. I don't think it's a shock. That top line still has not been great without Slavkovsky. Vegas is a very tough matchup. Akira Schmid, whatever, but, like, they don't take a ton of penalties. They're generally fine at 5-on-5. I guess if you, like, want to one-off a Caulfield, a one-off a Bolduc, one-off a Slavkovsky, that's fine, but I'm really not running out to play Montreal here. The Vegas side is interesting. It's just, like, what do you do with them? Because Montreal has been taking a lot more penalties than they did at the start of the season. The Vegas power play is spread across 3 even strength lines. I think you can do one of 2 things if you want to go the power play route, or one of 3 things, actually. You can just straight up power play stack them across 3 lines, which is, not the most ideal scenario. You can go with that Stone Marner line, leave off Howden, add in Eichel, or you can just double center, go Eichel, Hurdle, Dorofeyev, or something like that. Now, the issue I have with that is two of these three lines are going to miss the Suzuki line, and then after that, it's a really, really good 5-on-5 matchup. But, Eichel, Bowman, Barbashev, like they've been fine, don't get me wrong, for 16-7, and I think it's fine. I want to get power play guys in there, and I don't really want to play Brett Howden. There's a shock. So, honestly, I think what I would do is just go Eichel, Stone, Marner, or Eichel, Hurdle, Dorofeyev. I lean Eichel, Stone, Marner. Or you just full power play stack, and you just accept your fate that you're going across three lines. So, I think stacking Vegas is fine just because it's a good 5-on-5 matchup, but I really want as many power play guys as I can get in there.
Yeah. I really don't have a ton of interest in the Habs here. I know the top line had a good game last game. The shot attempts when they were on the ice were 18-8 for Utah. Habs scored a couple power play goals, which they honestly haven't done in a long, long time. Those things happen. I still don't have a ton of faith that, I don't think they're going to run the table against Vegas here. And you're right. Vegas doesn't take a ton of penalties over the last 5 weeks, 2.6 times shorthanded per game. It's a top 10 mark in the league for fewest penalties. So Vegas doesn't take a ton of penalties. Montreal power play, it has looked better since they put Bolduc back, but not really a ton of interest in the Habs here. My interest is on the Vegas side. The top line of Eichel, Bowman, Barbashev has been really good. The problem is like you said, this is a pretty good power play matchup. The Montreal penalty kill average at best, but take a ton of penalties. The Habs are over the last 6 weeks, they're up to 3.6 times shorthanded per game. It's the third most in the league. Only Anaheim and Boston have been shorthanded more often. And this Vegas power play, we talk about it all the time, how good it has been with Mark Stone. He's a difference maker on the power play for them. That's why I think whatever I do, if I'm playing Vegas here tonight, I build around Eichel and Stone. I really do, because Stone is such an integral part of the power play. So whether you just want a 5-man power play stack, whether you want to do Eichel, Marner, Stone, whether you want to just do an Eichel, Stone 2-man, whether you want to do, Eichel, Stone, Dorofeyev, or something like that. That's how I would approach Vegas here tonight. Is I'm not really concerned about, like you said, Brett Howden or Brandon Saad or Ivan Barbashev or any of those guys. Now they can still score. It's not like Montreal is a great defensive team or anything. But this is a really, really good power play matchup. So I really do like the Vegas side. I would build around Eichel and Stone. Not so much anything for me from the Montreal side.
Winnipeg Jets, the 2.7 total. Heading into Carolina, the Hurricanes have a 3.7. Carolina going Aho, Jarvis, Svechnikov, Ehlers, Stankov, and Blake. Stahl's out, right? Yeah. Winnipeg going Connor, Scheifele, Velarde, Perfidi, Nemestikov, Pearson. Is Winnipeg starting that backup guy? No, it's not confirmed yet. What's his name? Thomas Milik. Either way, whatever. I do like Carolina 1 here. With Stahl out, they're doing it anyway. They will be sending Aho out against top competition. That's obviously Scheifele, Velarde, Connor. That line is not very good and never has been good at 5-on-5. They're underwater by shot share. They're below average by expected goals against per 60. That Carolina 1 line has been excellent. They are fully correlated. Winnipeg's penalty kill has been better. Carolina's power play has been kind of bad. In fact, really much wow bad. But it's a good 5-on-5 matchup, so 19,404% I think is fine. That second line also in play for me. The problem is that they're 15K and they're coming in at 5.6% projected. If they're like 13.7, the same price as that Blues top line, I'd be much more interested. But, at that point, I'm just going to go play Carolina 1. No interest in the bottom 6 without Stahl. Winnipeg won. This is just a brutal matchup. Like, that Aho line has been great at both ends of the ice. Carolina has one of the best penalty kills in the league. Winnipeg won are power play merchants, and if you can't be a merchant in this matchup, I'm out on Winnipeg.
Yeah, I will say, like, the Carolina penalty kill, it's not been what it was like last year with Jacob Slavin. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as it was until he gets back in the lineup. So I do think maybe there's an opportunity for Winnipeg here. You know, maybe they can go like 1 for 4 on the power play or something like that. And this is something I talked about, I think, on a previous show. But one thing Carolina is doing as a team this year is they're starting to generate a lot more off the rush. Now, that can create more goals. Also gives more opportunity to the opposition to create turnovers and go back 3-on-1, 4-on-2, like those types of things. So I think there's merit to playing Winnipeg 1 here. I would probably rather play Winnipeg 1 than Ottawa 1 here tonight, at similar prices with very low ownership. So I think there's something to play Winnipeg 1 in a single entry. I'm not going to get there. For me, it would be more an MME type play. Like, you only need a few to get above the field. So I think there is something to playing the Jets here, but I'm not doing it in a single entry. On the Carolina side, like, you know, this team is just, it's not the same without Connor Hellebuyck in net. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. That top line, I was looking to see if they've been slowing down over the last 10 games. 85 shot attempts, 3.2 expected goals per 60 for Aho, Jarvis, and Svechnikov over the last 10 games. They've still been cruising. Andrei Svechnikov has 38 shots in his last 10 games. Like, these guys have really been pouring it on. It's not a bad power play matchup. Winnipeg doesn't take a ton of penalties. They're a little bit worse than league average in that regard. Carolina is not drawing a lot of power plays. That's one thing that's kind of surprising to see. Over the last 5 weeks, they're 23rd in the league in power play opportunities per game. That's a little bit of an issue. So Carolina 1 firmly in play here. I do think they're not my favorite line over 19K. I think for me, it's still New Jersey, but I'd rather play them than Ottawa, and I'd rather play them than the Winnipeg top line if you're going to play one expensive line. Carolina 2 is where it's kind of interesting for me. Last 10 games, 3 expected goals, 76 shot attempts per 60. You know, with Jordan Staal out again, maybe they get a little bit more ice time. Like, there was a stretch there where they were playing 14 to 15 minutes a game. Lately, it's been closer to like 16, 17. At 15K, that's fine. And, you know, the top line for the Jets, not great defensively at 5-on-5. You know who else isn't great defensively at 5-on-5? The second, third, and fourth lines for the Winnipeg Jets. So it's a really good matchup for that second line. I don't mind them in that 15K range. I think they're my favorite line in this game. I'm not necessarily targeting Carolina for the power play, but I think one way or another, it's Carolina 2. Winnipeg 1 is in play, but I think it's more MME for me, and then Carolina 1.
Toronto Maple Leafs, last place in the conference, 2.9 total. Heading into Washington, the Capitals, 3.5 total. Toronto going Matthews, Nyes, Robertson, Nylander, Tavares, Cowan.
Nylander's out.
Out.
They just announced that.
Just announced it. Adios, muchachos.
They said Morgan Riley's going to take a spot on the top power play unit. So it's the same 4 guys. Take off Nylander, put on Riley.
I mean, arguably Nylander is their most important. So, yeah. And it's a good power play matchup, too, so that sucks. Washington going Ovechkin, Strome, Beauvillier, Wilson, Protas, Sordif, McMichael, Leonard, Duhaime. Oof. Like, this is a tough 5-on-5 matchup for the Leafs. Logan Thompson's in net. It is a good power play matchup, but, like, the Leafs power play has already been bad this season. Losing Marner, you take out Nylander, throw on Morgan Riley. Not really interested in the Leafs here. I guess you could one-off Matthews because he's low-owned, but I'm certainly not going to be playing Leafs in my single entry here. I guess Riley might be all right, I guess. What's his price? 4K? 4,800. That's a little expensive still. I guess like a Matthews one-off is fine, but I'm really not interested in the Leafs. My interest is still on the Washington side here. It's just kind of a matter of what you want to do. I'm still on the boat of playing the double defenseman stack until it doesn't work anymore. Like they've just been on a heater. I think, listen, you can go about it a couple ways. I think power play stacking is fine, going like Strome, Ovechkin, Wilson. If you need a little bit cheaper, Strome, Ovechkin, Leonard. You could leave Strome off if you want. He doesn't shoot a bunch, but like he is on the power play. You could power play stack. I think both of the top 6 lines are in great matchups because the Leafs are just atrocious. So, like at 16-2, I don't mind Strome, Ovechkin, Beauvillier. That Sordif, Protas, Wilson line has been great as well. 5.3% at 12.7. That does interest me. I do worry that the power play correlation there isn't great. So, like, I would most likely go to Strome, Ovechkin and leave off Beauvillier and add in one of Wilson or Leonard.
Yeah, my interest on the Toronto side was in Nylander, Tavares, Cowan, and now Nylander's out, so I have no interest in Toronto. Like, Matthews is going to see that sore def line, and listen, they've been really good defensively. Now, Protas and Wilson have been basically able to carry any center to good defensive numbers, but they're at 2.2 expected goals against per 60, plus Logan Thompson's in net, plus the Leafs do not have a good power play, especially without William Nylander in the lineup. We say it all the time. The way that you take advantage of the Washington Capitals is their penalty kill. They take a ton of penalties, and the penalty kill is not very good. But if the power play is also bad, it's like, is this a good power play matchup for the Leafs, or is this a good penalty kill matchup for the Washington Capitals? So I really don't have a ton of interest in Toronto now. Like you said, if you want a one-off Matthews, maybe he goes double dong. You can certainly do that, but for me, it's just a pass. On the Washington side, like I think they effectively have 3 playable lines. Like this is a bad Toronto team. It's kind of, for me, it's kind of funny to say. But bottom 5 in the league by expected goals against over their last 15 games. It's not like their defense is getting any better. And, all 3 Washington lines are basically at different price points. I think all 3 are very playable. I will go to the Sordif line again at 12,700 just because they're a filler. 79 shot attempts, 5 expected goals per 60 for that second line this season. Going up against a Toronto top line that, straight up has not been that good defensively this year, almost regardless of the line combination. So I think Washington 2 is it for me. 12,700, 2% top 2 stack, 5.3% ownership. If you do want to make a Washington power play stack, because like this is, we talk about how bad the Capitals penalty kill is. The Leafs penalty kill over the last 5 weeks is dead last in the league by shot attempts per 60 and dead last in the league by expected goals against per 60. They're getting bailed out by Joseph Woll, and I think that he has to bail them out if they really want a chance to win this game here tonight. So, if you do want to do like Ovechkin, Strome, Wilson, make it a power play stack, I think that's fine. But for me, my interest is on Washington too. They've been really, really good. The top line, I mean, they're fine. 16,200. They're very playable. Top 2 stack coming in basically at their ownership, but I'm looking for cheaper stacks out of this game. I just think there's basically 3 playable lines here for Washington. It's like a Washington line is not my first line into my lineup, but based on what I do with what my other stack is, there are 3 lines here at different price points that I think are all playable. So it's just kind of what else you do with your lineup.
Pittsburgh Penguins with a 2.9 total heading into Columbus. Our Blue Jackets 3.2 total. Columbus going Fantilli, Voronkov, Ken Johnson, Monahan, Sillinger, Luca Pinelli. Pittsburgh going Crosby, Rust, Connor Dewar, Malkin, Mantha, Hayes.
I mean, wouldn't Ben Kindle be back?
Oh, yes. Ben Kindle is back and on the top power play unit. But is he on the top line, though? I think he's down on the third line.
Oh, Christ.
He's on the third line with Novak and Koivunen, I think, because that's where he was before he got hurt.
Connor Dewar, more like Connor Don'ter.
It's for real. They've created nothing in their 50 minutes together.
He did have an empty net goal the other night, I think.
Ovechkin has 312 of them. Here, I'm going to start on the Columbus side just because Fantilli, Voronkov, Johnson are fully correlated at 14,200, 6% top two, 14.7% projected ownership. Like if that was Marchenko and not Ken Johnson, I would be fine with that ownership. There's no Marchenko there, and that's the biggest problem. Like Pittsburgh's penalty kill has been fine, aided by goaltending. But like 15% Columbus here without their best player just feels a little bad. The price is good. They get decent minutes. You could do it if you want, but I'm leaning towards more MME. I don't really have interest in that second line. If you want a one-off Monahan for the power play, but they're coming in at 5% projected. So, like, if you want to play Columbus 1, that's fine. I'm not playing them in single entry at that projected ownership. So I'm pretty much out on Columbus as sorry as it is. Like on their skaters anyway, I'll play. Like, I think Werenski is a very good play. I just wish Marchenko was in. On the Pittsburgh side, it's a very good power play matchup. It's also a really good 5-on-5 matchup. I just wish Ben Kindle was up on that top line. I guess you could still go Crosby, Ross, Kindle. That would cost you 19.5 for fully correlated. It's not awful. And you have to expect maybe he moves up. Maybe not. But, like, you could do worse than a Novak Kindle 2-man against the bottom six of Columbus. So, like, if you want a power play stack, Crosby, Russ, Kindle, I think that's fine. I don't mind a Kindle Novak 2-man as a filler. If we get to warmups and Dewar is, in Narnia and it is Kindle on that top line, I do really like them.
Yeah. The one thing for me, it's like maybe Kindle goes back to the top line eventually, but with Raquel out, I think they need Kindle on the third line to have a good third line, and they're kind of stuck. It's kind of like Emmett Finney in Detroit, where they have 5 top 6 forwards. They needed to find one guy to finish the top 6, and Pittsburgh needs like 2 more top 6 forwards with their injuries, but like that's neither here nor there. I think that's why Connor Dewar is probably going to stick there. It's like, unless things really go sideways, he's going to stay there until they get some reinforcements back. That's why, first of all, I don't have any interest in Mega Chalk Columbus. I really don't. Like you said, not without Kirill Marchenko. I'm not playing 15% Columbus or whatever. This is a terrible power play matchup for the Blue Jackets. On the season, the Penguins have a top 5 penalty kill over the last 5 weeks. Second in the league at 92% on the PK, fewest expected goals against, fewest goals against, second fewest shots against per minute on the penalty kill over the last 5 weeks for Pittsburgh. Like, Columbus has to do it all at 5-on-5, and they'll probably kind of spread around the ice time. Like, Fantilli will probably play close to 20 minutes, but like, we know they love playing Sillinger. They're going to play Monahan 17 to 18 minutes, but also Charlie Coyle's going to play like 17 minutes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like all 3 lines are going to be between like 16 and 19 minutes. So I don't have any interest in Chalk Columbus. Like, I think a one-off Fantilli, you need to punt a one-off Pinelli. He actually looked good in his first game. I think that's fine, but like, I have no interest. For me, it is on the Pittsburgh side. Do I want to play Connor Dewar on a line that is 18,200? Like,
hell no.
that's kind of the problem here is like, it's not like it's Connor Dewar on a line that is 15,100 or 12,900. Like, this is Connor Dewar on a line that is priced up in the same range as San Jose, as Dallas, as the Vegas top line. It's more expensive than the Vegas top line, as with like Buffalo, Carolina. Like that's what you're competing with Connor Dewar. I mean, he's getting decent minutes, right? Like 17 last game, 15 the game before, 15 the game before that, 17 the game before that. He's getting 15 to 17 minutes. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess it's fine, but I just have a real problem playing a guy that bad in a line that is that expensive. I would probably just do some sort of power play stack. Like you said, take off Dewar, put in Kindle is probably the direction I would go, and just hope Mantha, Malkin, and Hayes sink at 5-on-5 while the top line flourishes. But going to be honest, for a game that has a 6.5 total, I don't really have a lot of interest here because I think one side is overpriced and I think the other side is coming in with way too much ownership.
Utah, the Soakers, the Mammoth, whatever you want to call them, 2.8 total. Heading into Dallas, the Stars have a 3.1. Dallas going Robertson, Hintz, Sagan, Rantanen, Johnston, Ben. Utah going Keller, Schmaltz, Hayton, Genther, Cooley, Yamamoto. Paterka down on the third line with McBain and Krause. In a nutshell, like Keller, Schmaltz, Hayton, very good line at 15,200. The price is fine. The problem for me there is they're going to be running into Heiskanen and Lindell, which is not ideal.
Just to jump in real quick, San Jose is putting Tyler Toffoli back on the top line, and William Eklund's moving down to the second line. Second line is Eklund, Wenberg, and Gaudette, and then Kurashev down to the third line.
So that makes San Jose not fully correlated on the top line anymore. I guess someone in the chat said Clayton Keller's father passed away. Is he still playing?
Yeah. Yeah, he said he's still playing.
Go to work.
Josh Doan on the top line for Buffalo. Benson playing with Oslin and Kozak.
That's fun for Benson. Yeah, I don't really have too much interest in Utah 1 just because they're going to be seeing the Heiskanen and Lindell pairing. After that, though, like Bichelle, Petrovic, like they're fine. But like there's Capobianco and his defense pair, like it really falls off there.
Hate to cut you off again, but St. Louis is changing their lines. Neighbors, Thomas, Kyrou, and Shen, Dvorsky, Buchnevich, Holloway, Suter, Snuggerud. I mean, Holloway, Suter, Snuggerud sounds kind of interesting. It's just a brutal matchup. If it was one of like 28 other teams against St. Louis, I might have some interest, but Ottawa is just a terrible, terrible matchup for them.
Yeah. So, like, for me, my interest would be Genther, Cooley, two-man, but the problem there is they're very expensive. And, like, you could do better than against the Dallas Stars. So I'm pretty much out on Utah. This is a tough matchup for Dallas as well. Like, these lines are just really good defensively. Durzee's back. They have a full complement of defensemen. It would be Hintz, Robertson, Sagan. But at 18.4, I'm just going to other lines here. You know what I mean? It's just too expensive for me in that range when there's lines priced below them and priced above them that I prefer. So this game's MME for me.
Yeah. The Utah side, it's kind of interesting because this isn't, necessarily a good power play matchup for Utah, even though the top line has been perfectly correlated. They're only 15,200. But the top line hasn't really been doing a whole lot of 5-on-5. Like since they got put back together, they're up near 50 minutes. 48 shot attempts, 2.1 expected goals for per 60 minutes. Like that's really bad offensively. And they're not getting a ton of ice time, right? Like Keller's been playing closer to 19 minutes, but like Schmaltz and Hayton are like 16, 17 minutes. It's kind of priced in. So just because it's priced in and because the minutes are still fine and they're perfectly correlated, Utah 1 is in play, but like this isn't really a great matchup. What I will say is Peterka, McBain, Krause, 8,500. They've actually been average at 5-on-5 offensively, which like just being an average line offensively as a third line is pretty good. Peterka's been on a decent little heater over his last couple of weeks. The problem is like there's nowheres that's that expensive that you need an 8,500 line. It's not like we have Colorado or something on the slate here tonight. So I guess it's Utah 1, but I don't have a lot of interest in Utah. On the Dallas side, Robertson, Hintz, and Sagan at 18,400. 2.6 expected goals per 60, 57 shot attempts per 60. Tyler Seguin has 9 shots on goal in his last 10 games. And Utah plays to a very, very slow pace. And Utah has a very good penalty kill. And Utah doesn't take penalties. And we say it all the time how much Dallas relies on power play scoring. Utah, third lowest rate of power play opportunities given up per game over the last 5 weeks. I don't know. I guess it's Robertson, Hintz, and Sagan, but I think I'm just kind of out on this game in general. And I honestly, in the nutshell, prefer the Utah side.
Nashville Predators, they 3 total. Heading into Chicago, the Hawks have a 2.9. Is Nashville going 11-7 again? Because I know Chicago is.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think, yeah, so they called up Reed Schaefer. They're going 12-6.
Okay, so they're sticking with O'Reilly, Stamkos, Evangelista, Forsberg, Marchessault, Haula. Chicago's going 11-7. They're going Bedard, Burakovsky, Green, Bertuzzi, Nazar, Teravainen.
Can I just cut in real quick?
Sure.
Ottawa is going Perron, Stützle, Batherson, Kachuk, Cousins, Zetterlund. So Brady Kachuk is not playing on the Stützle line. He's playing on the Dylan Cousins line.
Yeah, good. Yeah, probably.
I mean, they are fairly cheap, right? Kachuk's obviously not cheap. He's 7,700, but Dylan Cousins only 4,600. Zetterlund is 2,800. So 16,100. That's a lot more palatable to me than the 19,900 top line.
Fair.
Even though they're not perfectly correlated, but.
Chalk Nashville interests you? Yeah, no. I can't. I wish it was Spencer Knight in it. It would be the simplest fade in the history of fades. Arvid Soderblom hasn't been awful this year. He hasn't been good though. I just listen. There's 3 teams that are chalk that I just want to put my head into a meat grinder. It's the Islanders, the Preds, and the Sharks, and they're all chalk here. And I want to put my head in a meat grinder. Like 11.5% on Haula, Marchessault, Forsberg. No. 10% on Evangelista, Stamkos, O'Reilly. No. Like, I guess I would go to like Forsberg just because he's their best player, but these 5-on-5 lines are just not great. If you want to do anything, I would just full power play stack. If you really like them, just full power play stack. On the Chicago side, it's kind of similar. There's just way less ownership. I think I'd go like Bedard, Burakovsky, Bertuzzi, Bedard, Burakovsky, Teravainen, depending on, your price points. Bertuzzi's $1,100 more expensive. So yeah, I would do something with Bedard, Burakovsky, add in another power play guy. On the Preds, if you like them and you are playing them, I would just straight up power play stack.
Yeah, I'm out on Nashville. I'm like on a 12-game slate, I'm not playing Nashville Predators at 2 to 3 times at ownership 2 to 3 times their top 2 stack. That's just an easy fade for me. If I get buried by the Nashville Predators here tonight, so be it. I am in on the Chicago side. The Chicago power plays generally been fairly good this year. The Nashville penalty kill has really struggled. A lot of it's been the goaltending. With those types of situations, it's always like a chicken egg thing. It's like, is the goaltending bad because of the penalty kill, or is the penalty kill bad because of the goaltending? Usually with those types of things, it's usually somewhere in between. But either way, the Chicago power play has been good. The Nashville penalty kill has not. Burakovsky and Bedard have been very, very good at 5-on-5, 66 shot attempts, 3.2 expected goals per 60. Like, they've been getting good minutes too. Like, I know they've had a couple guys out of the lineup recently, but Ryan Green's last 5 games, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 18 minutes, 19 minutes, 17 minutes, right? Like, that's pretty good ice time for a guy that's not even getting top power play time. Very good 5-on-5 numbers. If I were to play against a Nashville line, Bedard has been used in a shutdown role. I would want to go out. I know that Eric Holla is appealing, but I definitely want to go out against the one with Steven Stamkos on it. So I kind of like Chicago 1 here in this game. They're my favorite line. Like you said, if you want to turn it into a power play stack, by all means, go ahead. But even though they're similarly priced to Chicago 2, I'm not playing a Chicago stack in a single entry without Connor Bedard. Like, that's just not something I'm doing. So for me, it's Chicago 1. If you want to turn it into a power play stack, put on Bertuzzi or something like that, more than fine. But my interest is on the Chicago side and nothing on the Nashville side.
Yep, let's talk about defensemen here. Hold on. At the top of the board, we have Werenski, Hughes, Dahlin, Chychrun, Yossi, Morrissey, Carlson. I think Quinn Hughes is in a really, really good spot here, obviously. He's the one guy who's consistently been doing stuff for Vancouver. I like him. I like Werenski, obviously. He just, 8,100. I'd much rather play Werenski than anything else on Columbus. Chychrun just does not stop shooting. I think Yossi's fine here. Like, there's options in the top range. I'd probably go Werenski 1, Quinn Hughes 2, Chychrun 3.
Werenski number 1 by point projections here tonight. I don't think that would surprise anybody. He's nearly 2 full points ahead of the next closest defenseman in Quinn Hughes. Werenski 15.25, Hughes at 13.42. So, obviously no issue playing Werenski. I do kind of like Hughes. Like, I always like Hughes in these kinds of matchups where I don't really want to play the forwards, because if they go off, I think it's a pretty good bet. Like, it's always a reasonable bet that Quinn Hughes will be included. Jacob Chychrun, it's like this. I mean, I guess he has to stop scoring eventually, or does he? 5 goals in his last 4 games, goals in 4 straight. I also looked at I think he has more games with a shot bonus than he doesn't so far in the month of November. It's like 7 games with a shot bonus, 6 without, or 8-4 or 8-5 or something like that. So definitely Chychrun in the mid price range. John Carlson is fine if you don't want to pay up for Chychrun. Other than that, there's nobody really in that 5 to 6K range I like. Shane Gostisbehere certainly for Carolina. Now that he's getting 21, 22 minutes is in play. Brant Clark for Los Angeles, just because he's getting good minutes and it's a good matchup. Rasmus Anderson for Calgary. Seth Jones. Like, they're all fine. But for me, it's more the cheaper guys. Philip Broberg projecting extremely well under 4K. Philip Hronik, if you don't want to pay up for Hughes, I think is a fine pivot. Gustav Forsling for Florida is in a pretty good matchup. Keandre Miller, same thing with him in Carolina. Simon Nemec, he's getting good minutes. He's in a good matchup. Esa Lindell, listen, the guy's still playing heavy minutes for Dallas. And until his price really starts climbing, I think he's in play every single slate. Under 3K, it's Alex Carrier, Alex Vlasic, Nick Blankenberg, and Nico Mikkola.
Let's talk about the goalies. In the top range, Logan Thompson's in play without Nylander. I honestly think Levi Merilinen's in play as well. Don't mind Askarov. I much prefer playing a Sharks goalie when they're super cheap as opposed to 8,100. So in the mid-range, I think Jet Greaves and Tristan Jarry are fine, even though that game's like $1.5 million total. And if you're going cheap here, like Wolf is under 7K. I know he was awful the last time out, but he's going to see some good volume, so I don't mind Dustin Wolf.
I think it's Devin Cooley starting.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I didn't see it confirmed. Sorry.
No, it was just somebody in our Discord said it. Who was it? Yeah, Henry said it was Cooley.
I don't really like Cooley.
Yeah, no, me neither. David Riddick, I guess, is fine. Danil Tarasov at 8,400 is really interesting. Like, he's been light years better than Sergei Bobrovsky has this season. I think if I'm going to play an expensive goalie, it's probably Danil Tarasov here tonight. He's not projected for a ton of volume, and it's mostly just because Florida's actually not been that bad defensively, but he's also projected, I think it's for the fewest goals against on the board here tonight. So I really do like Tarasov amongst the expensive goalies. For the cheaper goalies, like Askarov, I guess, is fine. Like, Jack Greaves is the one that always stood out to me. Like, he's not super cheap, but I believe he's 7,600. I think he's okay. Jordan Binnington, I know we still have a sticking point about the St. Louis goalies, justifiably so, considering how bad they were earlier in the season. Binnington's only given up, he's given up 3 or fewer goals in 4 of his last 5. He's given up, I think, 13 goals in his last 5 starts. So, like, things are really starting to turn around. I don't mind Binnington. I guess Alex Lyon for Buffalo going up against New Jersey feels kind of dangerous. I think I would rather lean Binnington or Greaves for the cheaper goalies. And like you said, I think Askarov is in play as well.
Yeah. Ducks have new lines. They're going Carlson, Gauthier, and Terry. Seneca with McTavish and Kreider. Also looks like Radko Gudas got hurt. Killorn got hurt. So I don't know. They both got hurt in warmups. Duck hunt on the ice right now. I have to make a lineup. Like, I have some guys in there I haven't finished yet, but anything else I haven't seen any news that's out then. I guess we'll let you know if the good ass is out.
Yeah, honestly, it wouldn't really change a whole lot for me. Just like, because Gudas just hasn't been good this year, so they have to dress more or something like that. It's not really. It's like, it's just swapping like one subpar defenseman for another. It's just a matter if you actually had Gudas in your lineup. It's kind of interesting that Ottawa is putting Brady Tkachuk with Dylan Cousins. Now, obviously, we mentioned correlated on the top power play unit. Hopefully, they didn't really play. How much did they? I'm just checking how much they played together last year. Yeah, they didn't play much together after Dylan Cousins made his way to Ottawa last year. Brady Tkachuk stayed on the top line. I'm wondering if, like, Tkachuk will be good enough to. I don't want to say he'll carry him because Cousins is fine, but with that line just over 16K and St. Louis just kind of nuking their lines, they're a little interesting to me. I just made my lineup. I'm not, like, I could say straight up, I'm not playing Ottawa here tonight. But they are kind of interesting to me, that particular combination. I'm interested to see how that works here.
Yeah, I actually just clicked into Foley because I think like I know it's not top power play, but like with Celebrini there, and I don't know, maybe I'll click him out, but I don't know. I haven't hit submit yet.
Yeah, no, we got under 5 minutes left. Haven't really. I finally made my lineup. Obviously, I'm not going to reveal it here on the air, but I do think, like, this is a fairly wide open slate. Like, you can. I think the thing is like the bad chalk, like the lines coming in at 2 and 3 and 4x or top 2 stack, I think are pretty easily fadeable. It's like, how worried am I really that a single Nashville line is going to go absolutely bananas here tonight? They could. It's not like Chicago's great. I guess it could happen. Maybe I'm just kind of like jinxing myself here, and Eric Hall is going to have a career game here tonight. But like, is Columbus really going to go crazy? I do think Kent Johnson is in for a turnaround, but like again, without Kirill Marchenko and Sean Monahan, the coach straight up said Sean Monahan is playing injured right now. I was wondering why he's not really playing a ton of minutes or getting a lot of production, and why they moved him down to the second line. It's like, well, he's playing hurt. And that's another thing that makes me kind of weary about playing Columbus, especially where it's not a good power play matchup anyway. It's like, don't want to rely on a guy that's playing injured that's on the power play, but that's how that goes.
What am I doing?
So I'm not seeing any last minute news. I mean, if anything comes in now, we're not going to be able to do anything by lock anyway. So I think that's about that.
Yeah.
Are you still figuring out your lineup?
I just finished it.
It's just like, I thought you said you'd finished it. That's why I was just like kind of like rambling about the Ottawa Senators. Talked about them more than I ever
just finished it, and it's strange. But that usually what it is on Live Before Locks. I'm scrambling, and my brain at the best of times doesn't fire on all cylinders. As Avery's in chat wanting me to turn on the Eagles game for him. I'll be up in a few minutes there, homie. But yeah, no, like I do enjoy Live Before Locks. It's just like it's hard for me to make a lineup because I tried to come into the show with no preconceived notions. And I just kind of give my unfiltered first-time opinions on the show. And the downside to that is having knowing what I'm going to do at the end of the show.
Yeah. I mean, I told you before the show, like I just straight up, like I registered for my contest, just straight up forgot to make a lineup. So I've been scrambling to kind of like pick away at it during the show, but yeah, I finally got my main.
Yeah. I mean, I was driving until I sat down at the desk. So Haas, no, I don't have any Senators in my lineup. I'm not embracing the madness. I was deciding between a few of expensive lines. Also playing a couple third lines, I think. Yeah.
Well, what's your hat trick pick?
Oh, yeah. My hat trick pick. I guess I'll take someone from my lineup. And I know you rather play Buffalo too than this line, but I'm going the Carter Verhaeghe. I
mean, listen, now that I know, actually Devin Cooley's been fine this year. I probably shouldn't slander him. So yeah, I mean, I certainly don't mind Florida here tonight. I'm going with a team that I can say I'm not playing, but I don't mind the team in general. It's just compared to other spots, I like other places better, but I'm going Wyatt Johnston.
Yeah, so happy lock in 30 seconds, but we will be back tomorrow. I don't know how many games are on the main slate, but like 20, it's something ridiculous, like 25 teams are going to be on a back-to-back or something like that. Some wild shit from the NHL.
I mean, well, yeah, because there aren't that many teams that are off today. So I think it's 4, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 22 teams are on a back-to-back tomorrow.
So that's fun. And we hit lock. So good luck, everybody, tonight. Avery, say hello.
Hi.
We're going to go watch the Eagles game because I did my job as a Jets fan parent and did not push that upon him. And
they're losing by 7.
They're losing to the Bears, but we'll see you guys tomorrow, and good luck, everybody.
Good luck tonight, everyone.